Hi lovelies, another week, another vlog. There's lots in this one to keep you entertained, so get a cuppa and enjoy it. And to keep you watching till the end, so we don't neglect fashion, because I know how much you love it, I'm doing a quick headscarf tutorial. Perfect for this weather, so keep tuned. But first of all, what do you think of this hairstyle? My hair needs a wash. I'm sort of loving my fringe. It's not grown out there, but I might grow out my fringe and have a completely different look when the hairdressers are open. I've got well over a month to think about it, but I'd love your feedback. What do you think? Do you like, or do you prefer the fringe or the bangs if you're watching in the US? Do let me know, but I need to have a much longer fringe to do it properly, and I might cut it all off. Ooh, do give me your feedback. I like to share these things. Must be the summer and the lockdown, but I don't want hair all around me that needs constant doing. And as you know, I wear it up, off my face all the time. So what's the bloody point? Oh, does it look better with these down? I don't think it does. Anyway, let me know what you think. Right, so lots and lots in this one, bit of work, an interview, blah, blah, blah. I'll introduce each section, but first of all, the most exciting news for those of you outside the UK is that we are finally allowed out, well, we have been for the last week, allowed out to meet one friend, not two, just one. We have to meet them in an open space, not in our gardens, God knows why, because we still stick to the 2 meters apart, but we are now allowed to meet one friend outside. So I made the most of that this week and seriously caught up. Oh, it's just so different to talking on the phone. Caught up with 2 of my besties, and Jack had a brilliant time as well. Look, I'm meeting a friend with his 2 doggies. Flinty and Maisie.
Come, Jack. Have you had a haircut?
Yes. Did you see the video?
Hello, me again, Jack. I've had a haircut. Do I look more handsome? I do hope so. She took me to the dog clippers today, but because of social distancing, they put me in a cage and made her take my collar and lead away. And she hasn't even bloody put it back on properly again. I'm so bored with social distancing.
Hello, Pete.
Hello.
Oh, look, I'm meeting another friend. Look at this weather. And the cafe's open, but I brought the Prosecco because this is like celebration time. And little Jack, there he is, hiding in the shade. Oh, you can't see him. You're too old for this, Jack. I've been very good with my exercise. Now, I know a couple of you have joined me in the body coach videos. I am proud to say I am now fit enough to have gone up one, and I'm now doing his PE sessions. I'll put the link below when I feel strong enough. This is not every day for me because I like to mix it with Pilates. Now, my Pilates teacher from my local health club has put up his own YouTube videos, so I'll share that link as well. And he films them on my local beach. I just love them. They're sort of like meditation with some really good Pilates, easy Pilates thrown in. And I'm also still doing Cassandra, but I finished the 30-day trial with her, and I'm now doing her yin yoga, which is really gentle and you just feel fantastic afterwards. So I've gone from my 10-minute bouts, I'm now doing half an hour, at least once a day, every single day. I'm feeling like PE today. I'm in a PE mood, but God, the last one was difficult, as you'll see.
Let's go. Strong squats. Drive. Stand up tall. Get down.
You are joking.
Stay with it.
I'm doing that slowly.
I can't see. What a workout. That was brilliant. What a great effort. I mean, that is such a tough workout for any age.
It's not looking right, is it? I need to grow this. So I've done another video with Tenor. Very appropriate timing for me because all our public loos in my area are still closed and I have a very weak bladder. So I think this video, they've promised to open the loos next week after much ranting from me on Twitter, because the delivery men, the posties, people who are driving around all day doing us a service, can not go to the loo. It's ridiculous. So they're finally opening them. But meanwhile, here's the latest video I've done for Tenor talking about weak bladders, bladder problems, what you should do. And this is for everyone at any age. I always get loads of comments when I put this up. If you've seen it on Instagram already, you can fast forward through this bit. Otherwise, I hope you find it useful and please do comment or send a private message to me. So it's thanks to Tenor and their Ageless campaign that women started talking openly about everything from stress incontinence, urge incontinence, overactive bladder, some of which I've suffered from, to talking about our bits and sharing very personal asides. But first of all, I really need to show you, for those who haven't seen it before, the new Tenor Ageless campaign TV ad. I love it because it's representing real women of a certain age.
There's nothing I would change now.
Sex is just as much fun, as sensual as it ever was. I also have incontinence, but it doesn't bother me.
I call it my sneeze wee.
My trickle of joy.
Too much? Well, it's not about you. It's about me.
So, bearing in mind, half of my followers on Instagram are under 35, I had the most amazing response to showing that ad. But what I really love about it is the fact that it's real women, getting rid of all those stereotypes that are typical in advertising nowadays. The women are over 50, and I just love the fact that it's authentic. So, shall I share a few of the comments with you? They weren't all totally positive, probably because it was I have to check his name because I could never pronounce it, Yorgos Lanthimos, the director of the movie The Favourite. He directed this movie for Tenor. So obviously there's going to be a mixed response, as there was to his film. But most of the feedback was really, really positive. And I just love the fact that the ad broke all the boundaries that we've not seen on a TV ad before. In fact, I believe this is the first TV ad to represent women in this way, older women. And of course, you know me well enough to know that I am constantly banging the drum about sexism, ageism, especially in marketing, and how we don't want to be at our age represented by younger models, but the youngsters joined in as well in this great chat we had with each other. So I'm going to read you a couple of the comments that came back to me. I struggle to understand the erroneous perception that all aging women experience incontinence. I hear jokes or references to this often and see it as just another form of ageism. So agree. Incontinence is a health or medical issue, but it's not an age issue. I can jump happily on a rebounder, laugh, run, cough at 64 without any leakage. But I've known women with some degree of bladder incontinence in their 20s and 30s. This isn't just an age thing, folks, even though it does affect more older women. It certainly affects a lot of younger women, possibly after childbirth. 3 to 6 million in this country alone, according to the NHS, suffer from some form of incontinence. So it is a serious thing to discuss, and it is a serious matter that you really should see an expert about if it's bothering you. But there's loads of advice out there. And if you go to Tenner's website, you'll find plenty of advice on there as well, because we're in lockdown, folks. And this is the time to practice things like pelvic floor exercises, which I'm coming up to in a minute. But one more stat to share with you. Something like 50% of women under 35 interviewed by Tenner said that they feared that a weak bladder would affect their sex lives. Yet only 10% of women over 50 found this to be true. So there's a very interesting stat for you. I want to see more age diversity in ads, and anyone who's uncomfortable with the sexuality of older women needs to look at themselves and unpack their reasons for feeling that way. Representation is for everyone, as is a sex life. How true is that? That's what I love about a positive ad using real women. And I love the fact that one of the women called her slight incontinence a sneeze wee. We've all been there. You laugh too much and a little bit of wee comes out. For me, the worst thing is, and I think it comes under the title urge incontinence, is when I'm really, really, really cold and dying to go to the loo, and I rush into the house and it's much warmer in there, and psychologically I know that I can go to the loo. Well, I have to run up the stairs at top speed because it does start leaking. So not fun, but it can happen, as I hope you realise, to women of any age. So it's something we need to address and keep talking about. Now, another comment on the ad. I came here to watch after your post and I wanted to see the comments. I love the ad. I love seeing women owning their aging bodies, and we need to talk about sex and incontinence as we age. How true is that? I'm lucky to have a group of friends where we openly discuss this, but many women don't have that. This ad is opening discussions. How true is that? We must keep talking. We must keep arming ourselves. And I'm coming to that in a minute. And what better time is there during a lockdown to get into pelvic exercises and all the rest of the things that might be bothering us? And at least we can still shop online. So covering the other taboo subjects that we are now talking about openly, let's see what else people said about their bits, their incontinence, their pelvic floor exercises. We shared a lot. First one. After I gave birth to my daughter up 10 years ago, my midwife told me to do the squeeze and release method as well as pelvic floor exercises. But interestingly, she told me not to stop doing the squeeze method, even if I only remember once a day or less for the rest of my life. She said I will thank her one day when I'm older. What an amazing comment. So here's another one. I always used to think you only had to do pelvic floor exercises if you had children, but I learned that this is not the case. And also that if you do the exercises, you can ditch the pads. Just my experience. Every experience is different, and there isn't a one size fits all for anything medical or otherwise, is my view. So right. So agree with you. I am all right. I don't need to do pelvic floor exercises, but as I told you earlier, I do have a touch of urge incontinence, needing to go when I don't really need to go. My doctor, my GP, actually gave me the very best advice ever, which is to get the brain to control your bladder. and to literally just train yourself to hang on longer. And it's amazing how quickly it worked. And I very rarely need to get up in the middle of the night anymore, thanks to her. I just practiced. Just not going every time I psychologically thought I needed to go. So I hope that helps. Also, yes, really important, a gynecologist also shared with me a long time ago that drinking a lot of coffee or a lot of wine is much like a cactus spike in your bladder. So if you have a very sensitive bladder or an overactive bladder or whatever bladder problems you might have, try and cut down on those two things. Difficult, I know, in the middle of a lockdown. Who doesn't need a drink at night? Right, I'm going to finish on this one because I love it and it's so topical. Just read your blog, thank you for that. I'm slowly recovering after a viral infection that has developed into a severe chest infection and just had my meds bumped up by the medics. Because of my coughing bouts, I have now developed stress urine incontinence, particularly shaming during the night and involving several changes of night attire and sheets. So my first ever order of tenor knickers and a better night's rest. Praise be and hallelujah. Oh, bless her heart. Listen, if you're watching this, I really hope you're all right and that you've managed to avoid that nasty virus and that you're recovering well and that everything's working a bit better for you. So I hope you found that little session of mine informative. I hope, whatever your age, you're going to talk about these things more openly. I'm really grateful for you watching. Please comment below and don't forget, if you need any advice and you can't see an expert at the moment, go to the Tenor website and I'm sure they'll be able to help you. But meanwhile, share and share with everyone. It's time we talked. So that's all fascinating stuff, isn't it, girls? We are not alone. So many comments on Instagram from women of all ages saying, especially after childbirth, how they're getting caught short with none of the loos open. So we're not alone. What else is there to share with you? Oh yes, well, more dog walks, obviously. I try and do my once a week little quick shop or going to the post office and take Jack with me so he has a change of scenery. So this is just typical of what we do on a day-to-day basis when we're not doing a special walk. We've got a new special walk for you next week. Of course, I'm trying to get as much vitamin D as possible naturally. I'm sure you've heard of the link between, possible link I should say, because I'm not a medic, but there's plenty of science out there if you want to Google it, the link between lack of vitamin D and the coronavirus. So I'm even more obsessed with getting my 15 minutes a day without sun cream. Then you put the 50 factor on. I was told this top tip years ago by the UK's top dietitian who puts her own children in full sun every day during the summer for 15 minutes only to get their vitamin D. Obviously, if you're watching in Australia or somewhere where it's incredibly strong sun, you'll probably only need 10 minutes. Do take care. So another job I've done was an interview on Zoom with tech pixies who wanted to know all about why I started Instagram at this late stage of my life and top tips for anyone who wants to start at any age. And also we talked about the imposter syndrome. Do you ever feel like, ooh, I don't really deserve to be doing this. Well, I shared on that as well. So here's a little clip I hope you enjoy, and I'll put the link below if you want to listen to the whole interview. Really useful if you're into social media.
Okay, so Sophie Bradley has just said she wants to be just like you. All right.
I love that. Now, those are this, I know it will come into one of your questions, but half of my over 30,000 followers on Instagram are under 35. And my greatest joy, apart from inspiring women in my, over 50, which is my mission, half my joy is to hear from a youngster saying, I want to be like you when I grow up. And that's what it's all about.
But I love that you embrace that, because I think one of the things that I think a lot of women deal with, and we can talk through this too, but a lot of women deal with imposter syndrome, and they deal, like, if they get into a position that is one that's of respect, they almost have this fear of success and this panic moment where they think, like, who am I to be in front of everyone else? Who am I to have other people want to be like me? And I love what you've done with that is you've turned that into a wonderful opportunity to be a role model for younger women who, and show them that getting older does not mean stopping doing things you love. Getting older does not mean stopping, exploring new things and learning new things. You are showing that to people every single day. So I'm just looking, our feed is going nuts. There's like all these hearts and likes and everything. So I love that this is working out so well. All right. So let's go step back for a second. So your godchildren said to you, two separate ones said, you need to start doing a blog. And then you started doing a blog. And what year was this? When did you start blogging?
This was right at I think I started Instagram my age goes with the years, so I should be able to remember. I think I started Instagram in 2014 and then started blogging and doing it properly and learning everything I could to improve my craft in 2015, so 5 years ago.
Yeah, so this is not even that long ago.
Yeah, it's 5 years this September, or is it 6? I think it's 5, to be
fair. So you started on Instagram first and then set up a blog?
I think so. I'm pretty sure, yes. I mean, it took forever, yes, because the website had to be designed, and that's where I draw the line. I love editing videos. I don't want to design a blog for love nor money. And I've got a wonderful friend who is my helper, and her title is actually in charge of pretty. So she's made my blog what it is today, making it look pretty.
Yes, I did have a little sneak peek, and I looked at some of your most recent posts, and I'm sure one of your last ones was
the lockdown.
Well, yeah, and the one about sex too. I think that one was probably
Yes, that was a little bit over honest.
That's all right.
That's the secret. That is the secret, especially now in lockdown. I think the most important thing on any of the social media sites is to be authentic. And I'm becoming more and more authentic and braver with every post. But I have suffered from imposter syndrome. It's normal. It's completely natural. I can't remember when I last did. I think it was a very big campaign for a beauty brand, and I was with these amazingly gorgeous people, and I was like, what am I doing here? So we all suffer from imposter syndrome. Don't worry about it.
Well, I love that. And I love that you just said that. And I think what you've done is you've given everyone permission to recognize that imposter syndrome is a normal part of playing a bigger game. I think if you are playing a bigger game and you don't feel like an imposter, you're probably not playing a big enough game. And
that's a very good point, Joy. Yes.
And I think what you've just said is that, you've described that perfectly. So thank you.
I can't remember what it was, but I remember actually walking around saying to people, I'm suffering from imposter syndrome. I don't think I'm worthy of this. Can't remember what it was, but it was probably a really huge campaign or something like that.
And I love that you did it anyway, and that's the
point.
Oh,
yes. That's the most important thing. It's why should you be any different when you're older? At any age, we can suffer from imposter syndrome, and you just take a deep breath and get on with it.
Well, so there's a quote in this book that I've been recommending recently called Fear is Not the Boss of You. And she says, it's not about confidence, confidence you have to get from doing experiences. She said it's about courage, and it's about having the courage to do something that scares you, and then, realize that you didn't die and you're fine and you can do it again, and it's all about, it's not about being confident. It's about having the courage to try something new and do something new. And then, when you do realize you haven't died, then you carry on and you build from that experience. So, I think
I couldn't agree more. I was at I hate, like all of us do, standing up and speaking in a room full of people. We all do. It's terrifying, but sometimes you have to, and you're not going to die, and it will all go brilliantly. And I think it's important to challenge ourselves at any age and just get on with it. What's the worst that can happen?
Again, apologies if you've seen that on Instagram already, but so many of my followers on YouTube don't follow on Instagram. Why not? Because they just don't want to. So I hope you enjoyed this. I was going to say quick look. It isn't really a quick look because it was all those interviews and videos. But I do hope you enjoyed my week with Jack. There'll be far more next week as I did a little bit more filming, and I'm going to visit another friend, and then I'm going to have a week off. I hope you'll forgive me. Now, I did promise you a bit of fashion at the end, so if you're still watching, well done, or you fast forwarded. But because of the weather, it's bikini weather if you wear a bikini. I am putting a blog up very soon this week about bikini to wear or not to wear. So I personally wear one because I usually sunbathe in my back garden to get my vitamin D. In fact, sometimes it's just knickers and a bra. I hate the feeling of wet material on my tummy, even in a hot climate. So that's my personal thing, but there'll be lots of options on the blog. Meanwhile, I didn't show it to you. This is a massive sarong. So if you have a beach near you, this is just perfect because you can use it as a cover on the sand or the beach, something to sit on in the park, and then you can put it round your head or go to the park wearing it on your head and then take it off. I find this the most useful companion when I'm traveling. Don't forget, cotton is much, much, much better. So all I did was take a huge sarong, fold it, till it's wide enough to stick on my head. I'm doing this really quickly. And let me know what you think about my new look. Probably be back to fringe next week. But see how easy is that? How easy is that? So also act as an extra cover if it gets a bit chilly after your walk. And my last top tip, because I do try and cover fashion, bit of health, exercise, everything that we can concentrate on in lockdown. Now, I don't know about you, I have a very savoury taste. I am very, very blessed. I've never been into cakes and biscuits and puddings unless I've been drinking, and who isn't doing more of that at the moment? But I discovered a really healthy alternative to my normal vegan magnums in the freezer at night, which were becoming addictive because I wanted something sweet. So I thanks to a podcast, I'll put the link below, to this lovely couple of women, Jessie Ware, really famous singer, and her mum. They're really into food. They're foodies. So I got this from one of their podcasts. You just buy a load of medjool dates, and basically with a very sharp knife, be careful, cut across, not all the way through, just cut across the top, pull the pip out, and then fill them with almond nut butter. Some people use peanut butter. I wouldn't call that the healthiest, but if you love it, fine. even macadamia butter. Any healthy nut butter that's sweet will just be delicious. So you fill them till they're all oozy. I pop them back in the case they came in. You can see I've had several already. I did these yesterday. And then you pop them in the freezer and leave them for 24 hours, because I tried one last night after 3 hours in the freezer, not good. 24 hours later, I promise you, they're like miniature Snicker bars or something similar. They're absolutely delicious, and they will solve any sugar craving you might have, and they're good for you. So girls, I really hope you've enjoyed this vlog. Please comment below. You know I love them and always answer. Please share, spread the word, because if you're enjoying this, then your friends might enjoy it as well. And as usual, please subscribe. Love you lots. Stay safe, stay sane, and stay alert. Whoever came up with that one.